Welcome back to Mastering Menopause. Today, I want to talk to you about the one change that I made to my diet in the past just under 4 weeks, that has made the biggest impact on my body composition. Now, I always have my clients focus on protein, so I'm trying to get them to eat to get up to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. And it's not easy. For a lot of ladies, they struggle to get that in. However, the reason why I prioritize protein is because I know that this is going to be the easiest way, honestly, to make those body composition changes when you are going through a weight loss journey. So if you can increase your protein to 1 gram per pound of body weight, that is going to be the easiest way for you to change your body composition. You don't have to do cardio. You don't have to do a strenuous routine. You don't have to, go on a severe caloric restriction. If you can prioritize protein, making sure that you're getting in that protein every single day, that is going to have the biggest impact on your body composition. Trust me. So I have been going through this transformation journey. I've gotten my initial fat loss results, and then I've gone through a couple of build phases and cuts. And this is how I've always done it, is making sure that I'm getting 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. And then as I'm building, then I start to add a little bit more, but I always make sure that I get at least my body weight in protein each day. But I like to have it a little bit higher for my body. Now, I still have a coach, right? So coaches need coaches too. For me, it's the accountability. So when I stopped with my first initial coach, I wasn't looking for a change. I was just looking to see like how other coaches are doing things, right? I think I'm a businesswoman, I want to see how other coaches are doing other things. So I went with a bigger company. I'm not going to say who it is, but I went with a bigger company and I signed a 6-month contract, because for me, I'm going to go all in, right? I'm going to make the commitment. I'm going to spend the money. I'm going to be here for 6 months. And so when I went to transition to the coach, she actually dropped my protein down from where I was. So I think I was at 170 grams of protein with my first coach. And I like protein, right? It's not hard for me to get that in. I finally, figured out what it is that I have to do to hit those goals. And so she dropped me down to my body weight in protein. And she said, you need to prioritize carbs over all this protein. She's like, it's not like you're a bodybuilder. It's just what she said to me. I'm like, okay, right. And coaches, we're the worst to coach. Okay. So I freely will admit that, but I'm like, hey, you know what? Trust the process. This is what she's doing. So I'm going to do it. So I would say like within, let's see, I went from 5 days a week of a strength training program, and then I was flip-flopping between 4 days a week and 5 days a week. So this summer was really busy. I also saw an uptick in my business. I have brought in an additional 2 coaches to one that I already have. And so I'll admit I kind of slacked a little bit, and I didn't mind actually going to 4 days a week. And the workouts weren't what I was used to. So they were definitely a little bit, I would say, not as focused on specific body parts and like kind of some compound moves. And I did find it kind of easy, but I was like, you know what, it's whatever, it's fine. I kind of needed the break, to be honest with you. So I knew I was kind of skating through. Like I honestly knew that. And then there were a few weeks during summer. It was just summer, so my results, I would say I wasn't getting great results. It was fine. I did go into, so I had been building before I went with this coach, and then she had me in maintenance and I do the same thing. Right? So for 8 weeks, and she's like, we're not going to go into a cut until you stay at maintenance. I had been at maintenance and above before that. So I'm like, okay, like I get it. And then we went into the cut, and, I did see my fat loss results, but I wasn't as like lean and as toned as I had been in the past. And I think around like 4 months, I started thinking like, you know what, I tried it. I wanted to see what it was like for a bigger company, how they deliver their coaching, and how this, they just match you up with a coach. So I started thinking like, it's time for me to get a new coach. And so I didn't like break the contract or anything. In fact, I said, hey, I'm just not going to be continuing anymore. And I hired another coach. And then my coach that I was with at that company ended up leaving, and they offered me a free month. So I actually turned down a free month of coaching to go with another coach. And so once I got to my other coach, now I had been in a cut for, I want to say, 3 months. I don't do the best with the deficit. I don't like it. I don't like dieting. I like my calories. I prefer to be in a maintenance phase or in a build phase, to be honest with you. And so in being in a cut, like when it was time for the cut, I was ready for the cut, but it just gets freaking tedious. After 3 months, like I really don't want to do it anymore. So, and so I was definitely at that point. And so when I went over to my new coach, she brought me back. Girl, I'm like 2 pounds away from where I really, really want to be. And she's like, yeah, well, she's like, we're going to do this, right? And she brought my protein from 130 grams back up to 165 grams of protein. And literally, I have been with her less than a month. So just over 3 weeks, almost 4 weeks now. And already my body has responded like right away. I'm eating more calories. I am no longer in a deficit. So I'm not quite to maintenance, but I am definitely like at the very lower end of maintenance, not in a deficit. So I'm eating more calories, but I am seeing my body kind of shrink wrapping on itself. So the fat is coming off my body. I'm not really losing weight. I'm like, I fluctuate between 2 pounds, like just like most women do, right? I keep fluctuating between these 2 pounds. I definitely have some days where I've gone over on my calories a couple of times. There's been a couple of events, but really I've just been prioritizing that protein, kicking ass. 165 grams of protein for me to do that, to make it easier on myself. I'm going to front load that protein, right? I'm going to get 65 to 70 grams of protein per day, so that, or I should say per meal, so that I don't have to stare down like a whole meal at the end of the day. So for me, I have 2 breakfasts. So for me, breakfast is very easy. I have cottage cheese, there's yogurt, there's protein powder. So there's just a lot of ways to incorporate protein into breakfast. And then lunch, I mean, guys, for, women are just like, oh my God, how do you get that much protein in? And I'm like, girl, you just got to eat. Like you need to have, it can't just be 4 ounces of anything. So right now it is 8 ounces of chicken breast. So, and just a little secret, if you take an 8-ounce chicken breast and you cook it down, that meat's going to shrink by 25%. So I weigh my chicken cooked. And so for me, I just take, like, say I'm going to have 6 ounces of chicken, and then I will say, times that by 1.25, and that's like the raw weight, and that's what I enter. So you actually might be eating more protein than you think if you're eating it cooked and not logging it as such. I like to log mine as raw. So a little tangent right there, but it has to be planned. It does have to be cooked. You kind of got to find a rhythm with it. And the ones that just can't seem to get around it, I find that they're still eating 4 ounces of chicken, or, having 1 packet of tuna or something like that. So for me, usually I have a tuna sandwich. So that's 1 can of tuna, but I'm going to mix cheese with that, or maybe some bacon. I'm going to put it on a high protein wrap. So that's going to be about 52 grams of protein by the time I am done. So it can definitely be done with, when you increase the protein, I'm just literally just not hungry. I don't have any cravings. I don't need to snack. I'm very full and satisfied from my meals, which is kind of the point, but this is just going to be a challenge to all my clients, right? Ladies, I'm talking to you, and I can see like to one of them, right? Oh my God, she's talking to me. No, I'm talking to everybody, because it's literally almost everybody that just isn't hitting the protein goals. And, when I see check-ins like, oh, I was at my sister's, or I was at a barbecue, or and you're not taking responsibility for getting that protein in. You are in charge of you. You need to get that protein in. You're not going, and damn well, because it happens every single weekend. You go over to Sally's house, or you go over to your aunt's house. There is no protein options. It's all carbs and casseroles and dips and stuff like that. So you are in charge of getting that in for yourself. So if I'm going over to my mother-in-law's house, right? Last night I knew, right? I asked, what are we having? She said chicken, right? So I'm like, all right, so I'm actually cool. But I also made sure that by the time I got there, I only needed to get like 25 grams of protein. So I front loaded my protein. So I did have Swedish meatballs for lunch, and it was almost 10 ounces of meatballs. And so that was like 65, no, it was like 75 grams of protein. By the time I put it on egg noodles and then had some, I just got gravy out of the can. I should say not out of the can, it's the bells out of the jar. I mixed that together and with some peas. It was delicious. It was very satisfying. So that was at like 1 o'clock. It was a late lunch. By the time I got over to my mother-in-law's house, like I was not hungry. And that's the way you're going to hack that protein. You guys, you got to figure it out. All right. I'm talking to my clients right now. I'm talking to everybody that is in my coaching program. I'm talking to everybody that is in Jumpstart. This is the one thing that is going to have the biggest effect on your body composition. So get it done. No excuses. You are the boss of you. And for me, it is, I forgot like what the power of that protein now, 165 grams. That is, for me, let's just do the math here. Sorry. 165. I do tend to have anywhere from 60 to 70 grams with breakfast and then lunch. But in 3 meals, that's 55 grams of protein. So that's easy to do. But you know what? It's not going to happen with a egg white omelet with some spinach. Okay. So, you gotta figure it out. I want you to eat the foods that you love. I don't want you to be forcing it down by any means. So you need to figure out, what do you like? And usually it just means having more of what you're already having. So I hope this helps. Maybe this is just a little kick of the ass that you need, but everybody can benefit from this, ladies. You all can definitely benefit from increasing your protein. If you don't know how much protein that you're eating, I can almost guarantee you that it's probably about 60 to 70 grams of protein. Okay, so that's the most that's what I usually see. So the way to see is start tracking in MyFitnessPal and see how much are you actually eating. If you don't know what you're supposed to be eating for calories, then go to my online calorie calculator. It's on my website. If you go to my website, it's www.catalystfitness.net. That's Catalyst with a K. That will calculate how many calories that you need for maintenance, and then how many grams of protein you should be getting. You do not have to go over on your protein yet, okay? You do not have to. You don't have to go over 1 gram of protein per pound, especially if you are already getting like half of that in. You are going to get the benefit of that protein. So anyways, I hope this helps. If you know anybody that would benefit from this information, then please share it with them. And I will talk to you next week.